Today we are talking to hip-hop poet J. Ivy. He's performed with the likes of Sonia Sanchez, The Last Poets, Jill Scott, and The Roots. You may recognize him from Def Poetry Jam or his Grammy Award-winning guest spot on Kanye West College Dropout album with the song Never Let Me Down. Today we'll hear more about his album Here I Am and what else he has in store. What's up, everybody? You're watching Know This. I'm your host, Ariana, and we're here coming from Mokata Museum in Fort Greene, Brooklyn. Today, I'm joined by the awesome J. Ivy in the house. What's up?
What's up? What's cracking? How you doing?
So, what's been going on with you?
Everything. You know, just been on the journey, continuing to keep things moving. You know, of course, you got the album you just put out. And
Here I Am.
Here I Am is the name of the album. If you haven't heard it, please check it out.
And on Here I Am, one of my favorite tracks is Stay in Your Lane. Which I think it starts with some words of wisdom that you got from somebody about staying in your lane. And I think it's tell people why you came.
Right.
And so how did you find your lane as a hip hop poet?
Man.
And knew that was what you need to stay in?
My lane was naturally paved.
Okay.
You know, it was something that, like, when I first started, not even when I first started, my English teacher, she told me I had a nice speaking voice. She had the class write a prose for a homework assignment, made everybody read in front of class. So I read my piece and she pulled me to the side. She told me I had a nice speaking voice. She wanted to put me in the show. I'm like, you know, I was the shy kid, whatever, you know. So I didn't do the show. So she had another show come up and she was like, you know what, you faked me out the last time. I have another show. I'm not asking you this time. This time you have to do it. I'm like, all right, well, you know, ain't a punk, what's up? You know, so I do the show, and my first time ever on stage, I received a standing ovation. So I was just hooked to that feeling of being on stage.
What's one of your most memorable performances? Again, there's a long list of people that you perform with that are, you know, really well known, and I'm sure big honors to be able to work with. But what was one of your most memorable? Man,
it's a few. Between like Def Poetry was definitely an incredible experience for me. Like I had memorable performances in, you know, poetry spots or, you know, little clubs. So it had that feeling, as well as, you know, you had the celebrities. You know, you had that feeling. Then, you know, you had, you know, the cameras and all the packed house. So I mean, that was definitely, I had the opportunity to do it 3 times. So just the experience of performing on that show was definitely one of the most memorable. Doing shows with Last Poets, opened up for Gil Scott-Heron some years ago, and that was just, you know, Gil Scott was one of those people that just completely opened my mind up to
in the genre.
Just the creativity that I drew from him. You know, it was like, oh, I can do this with my art. You know.
And I also understand that you do some artist education and work in schools, and that's an important aspect of your work.
Completely.
Why did you want to make sure that you were helping the young voices come up?
People did it for me. You know, there were always influential people that came, and they either spoke in my school or I happened to be on a show with them, and they all, you know, they would give me words of advice or, you know, things. You know, it was just a lot of messages that I didn't expect, but they always came at the right time. You know, and you know, I found that as the older I got, and I saw that people were looking at me in that light now, that it was important that I return what was given to me, so their return was being given to them.
And something that I read in your bio that I just kind of want to ask on my like pop culture curiosity, you gave John Legend his stage name. That's a true story?
True story.
Okay, so how did that?
So everybody knows, well, a lot of people know me from the song Never Let Me Down, which I did with Kanye and Jay-Z on the College Dropout. So the same night that I recorded Never Let Me Down, we listened to the song a million times, of course. You know, Kanye had it on repeat. And then a couple hours went by, he was like, yo, you heard of this singer named John Stevens? And I was like, yeah, I've been hearing about him, you know, out in New York, on, you know, on the underground circuit, you know. And he was like, man, you gotta hear this song. So he plays me the song. I think Will I Am had produced it. He plays the song for me. I'm like, yo, this is amazing. I was like, yo, this sounds like that old school music, you know what I mean? So John Stevens, he comes in like an hour later. John Stevens comes in, I'm like, hey, what's up, man, J. Ivy? I was like, yo, I heard your music. I was like, it's amazing. I was like, I was like, the music it reminds me that, you know, of old school artists, you know, me and the joints my moms and my pops would play. I was like, man, man, you sound like one of the legends. I said, you sound like one of the legends. I was like, matter of fact, that's what I'm gonna call you from now on. Call you the legend. So then a couple days later, we were all in the lounge area of the studio, and it's like 10 folk in the lounge, and like Kanye was there, a bunch of folk there, you know. So he walks in, you know, somebody walking on, everybody, John Stevens. So everybody shouted him out, and I was like, John Legend. And everybody looked at me, they looked back at John, they was like, oh.
They're like, you got a name, dude. That's your name.
That's your name from now on. So.
That's a dope story. All right, well, thank you so much for being here, and definitely check out Jay Ivy. You can find him online. I think it's j-ivy.com. You can check out his CD, Here I Am, the book, see where he's going to be performing, all of that. And he's on Twitter, Facebook. Connect with them.
Yes, indeed. Hit me up.
So if you didn't know about Jay Ivy, now you know, and that he gave John Legend his name.
Little Black history.
Yes.